So, huge news coming out of the Indian startup scene. The government has just dropped a massive 10,000 crore rupee fund. But here's the twist, they're not going to invest a single rupee of it directly. Today, we're cracking the code on this new Fund of Funds 2.0 and figuring out how it's set to completely change the game. So, here's how we're going to tackle this. We are going to follow the money. We'll start with that giant 10,000 crore promise. Then we'll look at the super clever way they plan to invest it. We'll uncover the 4 specific areas they're targeting, see how the actual investment funds get chosen, and finally, we'll zoom out and look at what this means for the bigger picture of India's startup world. And it all kicks off right here with this official letter. Now, this isn't just some memo. This is a direct order from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. They've told the Small Industries Development Bank of India, SIDBI, to get this thing moving and to do it now. So yeah, the engine is already running. At the heart of it all is this one staggering number, 10,000 crore rupees. I mean, that's the war chest the government is putting on the table. So the big question, the 10,000 crore rupee question, I guess, is where is all this money actually going to go? Because the government has a very particular and honestly a kind of surprising strategy for how they're going to inject this money into the system. They aren't just going to be writing checks to any startup that knocks on their door. I mean, think about it. How do you even begin to invest that much cash without getting totally swamped trying to pick winners out of thousands and thousands of companies? Well, the government's answer to that is probably the most fascinating part of this whole scheme. And here it is. This is the core idea that changes everything. The government itself will not invest directly in startups. Not a single rupee is going from a ministry to a founder. Instead, they're taking on a totally different role, kind of like a super investor. They're using what's called a fund of funds model, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a giant fund that invests in other, smaller funds. Basically, the government is outsourcing the hard work. They're giving the money to the pros, the venture capitalists who do this for a living and know how to spot the next big thing. So here's the money trail. Step 1. It starts with the government of India's huge pile of cash. Step 2. SIDBI steps in to manage the whole operation. Step 3. SIDBI allocates that money to professional investors called AIFs. And then, step 4, it's those AIFs that actually find and invest in the Indian startups. So what's an AIF? Well, think of them as expert talent scouts. If the government is the big movie studio putting up the budget, the AIFs are the savvy producers who know the industry inside and out, the ones who can find the next blockbuster script or star actor. These are the seasoned VCs, the pros. But the government isn't just handing over the cash and walking away. They've set up 4 priority lanes, basically creating fast tracks to make sure this capital flows into the sectors they see as absolutely critical for India's future. Okay, so if there are priority lanes, who gets to drive in them, right? Which kinds of investors, and let's be real, which kinds of startups is this money really meant for? And this table, this lays out the entire strategy. You can see the 4 big bets they're making. First, a huge push into deep tech. We're talking AI, robotics, serious, world-changing stuff. Second, they're backing the smaller, early-stage funds, the guys who find great companies when they're just an idea. Third is tech-driven manufacturing, a clear boost for Make in India. And last, you have the generalist funds who can invest pretty much anywhere they see a good deal. But you gotta check out that last column, the investment multiplier. This part is just brilliant. It's the government telling these funds, we'll give you our money, but you have to bring even more private money to the table. And look at the generalist funds. They're expected to have a 2.5x multiplier. That means for every single crore of public money they get, they have to invest a total of 2.5 crores into startups. It's all about leverage. So if you're a VC fund, how do you get your hands on this capital? Well, it's not going to be easy. They've set up a pretty tough 2-stage selection process. Think of it like a gauntlet designed to filter out everyone but the absolute best of the best. So in stage 1, all the proposals get reviewed by the Venture Capital Investment Committee, the VCIC. And what's really important here is that this isn't just a government committee. They bring in outside experts, people from the startup world, to make sure the calls are based on real-world experience. Only if that committee gives a thumbs up does a fund move on to stage 2 for the final sign-off from SIDBI's board. And the official guidelines are crystal clear about what they want. This quote says it all. They're looking for experienced professionals with proven track records. You know the old saying, they're betting on the jockey, not just the horse. They want to make sure this public money is in the hands of people who know what they're doing.
And this really brings us to the bigger picture, because this 10,000 crore fund is about way more than just money. You have to see it as a strategic tool. It's designed to strengthen the entire foundation of India's startup ecosystem.
And one of the coolest goals, written right into the rules, is to spread the innovation out. The scheme is specifically designed to support startups beyond metro regions. The idea is to grow the ecosystem across the whole country, not just concentrate it in the big city hubs.
Now, what happens when these investments actually start making money? Well, the plan for the profits is really smart. Most of it, 95%, goes right back into the government's main bank account. This could make the whole thing self-sustaining over time, but the really critical part is that other 5%. That gets immediately reinvested into building up the ecosystem itself. And that 5% isn't just more investment cash. No, it's for building the stuff that founders really need. You know, things like workshops, real mentorship programs, shared workspaces, and actual help navigating all the rules and regulations. It's about making the soil richer, not just planting more seeds. So when you put it all together, 10,000 crores of smart money channeled through expert investors, aimed at the most important sectors, and with a built-in plan to strengthen the whole community from the ground up, you just have to ask, right? Is this the big push that finally kicks off a new golden age for Indian startups? It sure feels like all the pieces are falling into place.